Ever made a hiking mistake so embarrassing you're just glad no one was watching? You are not alone. I once confidently trekked an hour through a total whiteout only to discover I'd strayed miles off course. So in this video, I'm going to show you real life disasters shared by my hiking community of over 18,000 subscribers. Navigation nightmares, packing blunders, gear regrets, and campsite catastrophes. So you don't have to learn these lessons the hard way. Let's kick things off with a classic mistake that punishes you every step of the way. Because sometimes your gear doesn't just slow you down, it actively hurts. The packing paradox, when gear goes wrong. Packing isn't just about what you bring, it's about what you should have left behind. Take Tammy Kerr 558 for instance. On her first multi-day hike, she brought car camping equipment, including a full-on briefcase-style stove. It didn't fit in a pack, so she strapped it across her body. After 4 days, she had a bruise the size of a softball from where it smacked her with every step. I'm sorry, Tammy, but that's pretty funny, actually. Sorry about that. But she's not alone. When at Tas Jess packed in a rush one day, she accidentally brought enough food for 2 people, even though she was hiking solo. If you've ever tackled Tasmania's Central Plateau, the climb up to it, then you know that it's not the sort of place where you want surprising kilograms weighing you down. So how do you hike smarter, not harder in these sort of situations? Well, do a weight to function audit. Does it spark efficiency? Forget does it spark joy. This is the Marie Kondo for hikers. Before packing each item, ask yourself, how often will I realistically use this? Does its trail value justify its weight? If something's bulky and is rarely used, leave it behind. Prioritize items that earn their spot in your pack. And after each trip, do a post-hike gear review. Make a quick list of what got used and what didn't. But there is a catch, of course. Don't toss out emergency essentials just because you didn't need them this time. Keep a clear distinction between comfort extras and critical backups. Build your core kit. Over time, your gear should evolve into a sort of a lean, reliable core of gear that you trust across most conditions. Think of this as your trail-tested foundation. Then tweak based on sort of specific trip demands as you need to. But with that said, all the ultralight gear in the world won't help you if you're following the wrong trail marker. Navigation nightmares, when confidence meets confusion. So here's the thing about getting lost when you're out on a walk. It never starts with panic. It starts with confidence. Most of the time anyway, I reckon. Take at Craig 2795. He set out on what looked like a perfect day in Ireland. Blue skies, sunshine, easy climb. Halfway up, the mist rolled in. And the visibility, well, that was gone. So he may have panicked a little bit, built a makeshift shelter, and hunkered down for 3 anxious hours, convinced a massive storm was battering the mountain. Eventually, as daylight faded, he packed up and cautiously backtracked, only to drop 50 metres below the clouds and walk straight back into glorious sunshine. He wasn't in a storm at all, really. He was just in some cloud. But Craig doesn't stop there. Another time, he loaded up the family, drove 4 hours north of Sydney here in Australia, and unpacked everything to only realise that he'd forgotten the tent poles. No backup, no workaround, just an awkward picnic lunch with the family, followed by a 4-hour drive home. And apparently his wife still brings this up whenever someone compliments him on his outdoor skills. Then you have at Jackie Watson 2942, who trusted a trail marker someone had turned the wrong way, or maybe just turned the wrong way itself, some sort of scenario like that. She followed it confidently for 8 kilometres. By the time she realised this mistake, anxiety had set in and she was completely off track. So how do you avoid becoming another Craig or Jackie type scenario? Use what I like to call a layered navigation system. Think of it like redundancy in safety gear. You need multiple ways to orient yourself. Things like having a digital GPS. Things like having offline topographic maps on your device. A paper map and compass. Yes, I always pack both. Always take a paper map. Always take compass on top of the digital maps. Also have local terrain awareness. Learn how to read the land, not just your screen. Master terrain-based conditions. Mountain weather doesn't care about your forecasting app. Clouds can form rapidly on summits even when it's sunny below. Valleys trap fog. Ridges funnel wind. Terrain shapes weather, so learn how to read the weather. Always carry a basic emergency shelter, even on a quick day hike. Campsite catastrophes, when comfort becomes crisis. Now, you can have perfect route finding skills, a weather app that never lies, and a map in every pocket, but none of that really matters if you pitch camp in the wrong spot, because the only thing worse than being lost is being soaked. Bottom line, never trust one method. Layer your tools, understand the land, and always be prepared for the unexpected. There's something uniquely dangerous about feeling too confident when you stop for the night. Take at Axmanixa, for example, who confidently set up a minimalist bivvy under clear summer skies once. No rain forecast, no worries. They chose a flat, low spot and skipped setting up a full shelter. Then came the downpour. Sleeping mat, soaked. Liner, flooded. They ended up the night curled up miserably in a mate's tent. Wet, uncomfortable, but at least safe. Pitching camp without assessing the site is like building your tent on a dry sponge. It might look nice and dry and stable now. It might feel fine, might look solid, but the moment the rain hits, everything you thought was solid turns to soup. Campsite mastery isn't about luck, it's checklist based. Assess the site for things like elevation and drainage. Avoid dips, gullies, and spots that look flat but damp. Seek slightly raised, well-drained ground. Look for natural windbreaks, things like rocks and shrubs, tree lines. Have a shelter that will stand up to nature. You can look at having things like a ground sheet beneath your tent. You can pack a backup tarp or emergency shelter, even on those perfect weather trips. And I know when I'm in a group, we just take a tarp anyway because it's nice to sit around a camp if the weather does break. But it also acts as a little shelter you can set up in emergency as well. Peg everything down securely. Wind doesn't care how confident you feel, so make sure that your tent and your stuff is pegged down correctly. Have a dry kit strategy. Keep your critical gear sealed in dry bags or plastic bags. Always carry one guaranteed sort of dry set of clothing, sealed and just locked away in your pack. I keep one set of clothing just completely dry all the time, and that's what I wear around camp. But even flawless campsite skills can't protect you from one silent saboteur: blind trust in technology. Because when your phone battery dies, your signal disappears, or your map app glitches, well, all your careful planning can evaporate in seconds. So what happens when smart hikers fall victim to tech traps? The technology trap, when smart gear gets dumb. So take at Jackie Watson 2942 again, who confidently relied on her phone for navigation, not even in a remote area, I might add. But she forgot the one tiny thing that made it all work seamlessly if she ran low on battery: the charging cable to connect her phone to the battery. Suddenly, her battery bank was useless. If her phone died, that meant no map, no directions, and potentially no easy way out. Now, I've been there. One small tech oversight can quickly turn a casual hike into an anxious, stressful mess. A single forgotten cable can trigger a cascade of avoidable problems. Tech is fantastic, but only if you manage it properly. Now I have what I call my power redundancy plan. Pack a reliable battery bank and know exactly how much juice you'll get out of it. For longer trips, consider taking a second backup battery or even a solar charger for those really long trips. I like to keep my battery banks and my cords, my power charging cables all together, so I sort of can have a quick look and know they're all there. And when you're out, switch your phone to airplane mode or battery saver mode from the start, not just when your battery life drops. But even the best power plan, backup chargers, extra cables, battery banks, solar chargers, you name it, that won't protect you from another common gear trap: gear failure. Because tech isn't the only thing that can let you down when you're out on a walk. Test your gear before the trail does it for you. If you haven't tested your gear or checked it before you head out on a hike, you could be in trouble. Just ask Fitz K10. He brought brand new expensive ultralight rain trousers. He slipped them on confidently in a massive downpour of rain, expecting to stay nice and dry. But by the afternoon, his pants were dragging low at the back, his base layer was completely soaked. He was cold, he was grumpy, and he was cursing the manufacturer. When he finally reached a hut and stripped off to dry out, he noticed something a little embarrassing. The label was on the front. Yep, he'd worn the pants backwards, back to front, the entire day. It's funny to look back on. And while it might be funny now, when you're drenched, chilled, and miserable when you're out on a hike, it is no joke. That's why I follow the try it before you rely on it rule. Test everything at home before it earns a spot in your pack. Wear new clothing layered with your other gear before you take it out in the wilderness and then try to start layering it up out there. Set up your shelter, fire up your stove, and thoroughly check all your equipment ahead of time before you're out on a hike. Bottom line, test your gear at home, double check your tech, and always have a backup plan. Because when you're out on the track, well, it's no place that you want to have sudden surprises. But here's the thing, gear and campsite smarts will only get you so far if your sense of direction leads you off the track. If you want to avoid getting lost, second guessing trail markers, or wandering 8 kilometers in the wrong direction, then check out this video up here where I break down essential navigation skills every hiker should have in their back pocket.